Hi everyone, my name is James. I am the box office artist and welcome to another episode of the Throwback. Now we haven't done this in quite a while and I thought to myself this would be a lot of fun because as you see down over here, this is my Lost Light cover and I want to thank you guys for the support that you gave me. Like I've got quite a few views on my two how to draw professional comic cover series, and I thought it would be fun to actually go back and look at all of the different covers that I've done over the years. Now, we're going to just focus this episode on the ones I've done for Transformers, because as you guys know, I'm mostly known as a Transformers artist, and every single piece of artwork that I've done in the past, every single one of them has a story to it. And I thought it would be fun to share this with you, especially since I don't really have sketchbooks. A lot of you have been asking me to go through my sketchbooks. I don't really have sketchbooks, but I do have a ton of old art that I've done, especially professional work, and I thought it'd be fun to go through them with you. So what you see right now here is the Lost Light cover that I showed you how I put together, and the original art and how it looks right now. And if I go to the next one here, this is my Transformers Till All Are One, and this is what the original black and white version looks like to the cover. So you can actually tell the difference between it, and as you can see here, I did not intend to have, you know, the legs cut out. As you can see, the bottom of the artwork here, it's it cuts off like here, so it cuts off actually here, but I guess they wanted more space, so they extended it down. And then John Paul made it look very painterly, the background here, which it looks really, really cool. So he did a fantastic job on that. So these are the last two covers that I've done. Hopefully I'll be doing more for IDW. I'll talk about that a little later on. But let's go back in time. Let's go back in time and talk about covers I've done in the past. In fact, let's see what's next here. Okay, now here's a cool image here. Now this isn't exactly a cover itself, though I have seen this image being used in other places, okay? This was actually done for an art book. This was for an art book called Transformers Genesis. I won't mention the company that I worked for, nor the people I was involved with. I will say that I was never paid for this piece. I was never paid for this particular piece. There's no record of me being paid for this particular piece. But I have seen this image used in many places, including that Transformers Genesis art book. So, you know, here's the deal. Like everyone knows, the old company I worked for, Dreamwave, they were known for not paying some of their artists. I fortunately was paid for them, but there was Transformers art that I was not paid for, and it wasn't Dreamwave. It wasn't Dreamwave that didn't pay me. It was these other companies, and this was a particular one. But I've seen this image on T-shirts. I've seen it on posters and all that stuff. You know, it's one of those things. You got to be careful when you work professionally. Sometimes there are instances where this does happen. Now, that's unfortunate. Like, also I see like an ink version of this particular artwork around, inked by Pierre-Andre Derry, who is actually a big video game artist now. He's doing really well. I think he's like an art director at a video game art. And Blonde, I love the colors to this thing. I think Blonde did a fantastic job. Now the explosion, I actually photoshopped that in. As you can tell in the original art here, the explosion's not there. I actually took that from my Optimus Prime piece, which looks almost the same as this. I took that, and you know, it is what it is at this point. At the very least, I still have the original art to this, but you know, it is what it is. Be careful out there. Be careful, you know. So, speaking of Dreamwave, let's look at some old Dreamwave covers I did. Let's go back to the old Transformers Armada days. Let's go back here. This is my cover to Transformers Armada number 5. Now, I did covers for the first 4 issues, of course. I drew all these issues. But when I go through those individual issues, I'll actually go and over those covers then. But for these next, I'll show you a few of these Transformers Armada covers. These are actually called Minicons. And you know, they're like these little tiny versions of the Transformers back then, and I was actually very popular when I did this series. A lot of eyeballs were on me. I just never took advantage at the time. As you can see here, this was like 2002. The inks were done by my buddy Rob Armstrong, who's right now he's working on his own Canadian comic book, which looks fantastic. Been doing a lot of stuff on Kickstarter. This one was colored by my buddy Sigmund Torre, I believe so. Was it Sigmund? Who's Sid? I forgot who Sid was. I believe that was my buddy. No, was that Sigmund? I forgot who did it. But anyway, as you can tell, that here the difference between the line art and the color version, and it looks like they added this little, this little stuff back here, over here. But this was fun to do. And all these covers here, this is for issue 8, which I didn't draw the interiors, just the colors. The covers, and Alan colored this one. Alan actually, he is actually very successful now. He's an art director at Ubisoft in China, if I'm not mistaken, right now. Really, really successful right now. Good for him. And as you can tell here, all of these covers are about mini-cons. So, I'll be honest too, if I were to sell these covers today, probably wouldn't go for much, because these mini-cons here, they were very niche. They were part of the Armada series, so not a lot of people know who these mini-cons are. I even forgot the names of these mini-cons. It's been so long. But they do remind me back in the day when I used to, when my parents would buy me Transformers, they would only buy me the tiny ones. They would the tiny ones, so I would get ones like Cosmos and Bumblebee, like the very small ones, because they were cheap. At that time, you could get them for maybe $3 back in the time. So they reminded me of those very small ones. But, was what they were. So this was a fun cover too, because it's reminiscent of a cornfield, like the old Alien, these aliens would maybe leave these impressions in the cornfield. That's what we were going for here with this particular cover. And this particular cover here, I started using more, like I've always used heavy blacks, and I started using more into my Transformers art. So I had the darks under here, and my friend Ramil, who colored this one, great guy. He got upset with me because I actually inked these, because when he colored this, he wanted to do this cool underlighting effect to this particular art. And here, there's pros and cons to adding a lot of blacks in your artwork, because one thing, I'm the one controlling the lighting, so it's really my vision. But when you have a genius like Ramel was, he wanted to do this really cool underlighting thing, which would have looked actually really cool. Here, he wanted to do this underlighting thing with these windows lit up, and now thinking about it, probably would have been the better way to go. Maybe I should have talked to him about it first before I did my lighting. Maybe I could have reversed the lighting on here, but it is what it is. It still turned out looking like a pretty cool cover. So, things you learn as you go on here. So that's what it was. And here's another cover. I forgot the names of these ones. These guys here, but more mini-cons. This was actually very inspired by those old Jim Lee covers. Especially, I believe, Wildcats number 5? Yeah, I believe so. Wildcats number 5 had an image like this, though there was like 6 Wildcats. But yeah, the one Wildcat in the middle here. I believe Spartan and Zealot were in the middle. But that's the type of feel I wanted with this particular cover. So it's a homage to one of my biggest inspirations, Jim Lee, this particular cover here. So I think that was the gist of my Transformers Dreamwave covers that I've done. Like I've done a whole bunch of other Dreamwave stuff, which I could get into, a whole bunch of stories I could tell about Dreamwave, but let's move on from that. Oh, and one more thing here. This is one of my favorite covers here. This is the Transformers Armada trade paperback cover. This is a trade paperback cover, so we had Optimus Prime here, Bumblebee over here. Now, you notice here, Megatron, you notice how I drew the face here and how it compared to how it looks in the end? Hasbro said he looked way too human. Here, he looked way too human. Even the teeth. Like, I'm not sure if Transformers would have teeth like this with gums. but as you can see here, I added all these folds and stuff, so I was kind of penciling him like he had a human face type thing, and then they didn't like that. So as you notice here, these were the adjustments we made post, and we did this in the computer. So I added a line here, and I believe I actually digitally fixed this myself, and then had them color it. I forgot who colored this. Let me see here. Rob Ruffalo. Rob Ruffalo, another talented artist, he colored this, so you could see what happened there. So that sometimes happens, especially with Transformers. It's trying to find that medium between having him feel human and having him feel robotic, and I think I went too far with making him feel human, at least for Hasbro's taste. At that time, that's why I had to alter this, so you can see the difference between the Megatron face here, the Megatron face here. So it is what it is. You know, that's when I really started to struggle with how to handle Transformers faces. And you'll see that coming up, because I'm going to start showing you some IDW stuff when they first got it. Now, IDW had the license, I believe, in 2005, if I wasn't mistaken. And when they came out with their first series, when they were about to get the license, they were looking for an artist for their very first series, Transformers Infiltration. Now, I was in the running to actually pencil that series. I believe they contacted a whole bunch of Transformers artists, and they wanted us all to create a sample. And they let Hasbro choose which artist they thought would be the best for the series. Then this page was a sample page I did to try to be the regular penciler for that series, Transformers Infiltration. Okay, so as we see here, Starscream, Megatron. So they just wanted me to do one page to show what I could do, so I did this destroyed scene here. Now, looking at this right now, their scale is way too big. They're way too big. Especially consider, look at this car here that I have here at the bottom. Look at Starscream. Now, a plane, compared to the car, like a plane would definitely be bigger than this, but not that big. They wouldn't be that big compared to the humans, but, you know, I learned scale. But you could also see that I was, you know, the type of face. Compare that to my what's it called, the way I drew the Megatron's face here. Compare that. Now, at this point here, I was very influenced by Don Figueroa. Don Figueroa, at this point, and even today, he's like the quintessential Transformers artist. Like, he was the fans' Transformers artist. They loved the way Don did his stuff. He was like a great mix of cartoony with the more detailed style. So I was trying to make more Don Figueroa-esque faces, because I knew that's what Transformers fans kind of wanted at the time. So you could see the difference here, what I was trying to do. And unfortunately, I wasn't picked for the series. They decided to go with another talented artist, and a friend of mine, his name's E.J. Sue, who did a fantastic job doing the Transformers Infiltration series, but they got me to do the covers. So I started to do a bunch of covers for them, and here's a cover. Okay, let me just back up here. And here's a cover for issue 1, okay, and then this was an exclusive cover. This is the foil cover, and this was a fun one, because they actually gave me a synopsis for all the covers that I did, so they had an idea of what they wanted me to do for the particular covers, I think just so that they wouldn't have different covers for everyone. And they wanted me to focus on the kids. Now, this isn't the most art selling friendly because I was focusing on the kids. I even forgot what the names of these kids were, but I had the 2 kids here, and then I had the 2 Decepticons that were reflected in this Autobot's windshield here. So as you can see how it was colored, and you don't even see the 2 Autobots anymore. But you also notice now, they actually colored this straight from the pencils. Now I took these pencils, I brought it into the computer, and I digitally inked it. Now, pretty much when I said digitally inked it, pretty much I just boosted the contrast, so it's completely dark, filled in all these blacks. You see where the X's are? Fill those in black. And I did some alterations here, and as you can see here, I found that this particular kid, I added too many lines, so he started looking old. So that's why over here I removed, like for example, I removed this part of the shadow of this nose. That helped a bit. And one thing you learn when you get, you know, through your art career, is that the more lines you add to a face, the older the person looks. And that's what happened with this particular kid here. So he's supposed to look young. He looks actually much older because I added so many lines to his face. Also, when it comes to when you're drawing women, you don't want to add too many lines to the face because they start looking old. And I think that's what happened here. But not too bad of a cover, I think. Okay, so this is one for issue 2 here. You know, that is what it is. But at least I got to draw more Autobots here, which was fun. Sunstreaker here. You know, so this was a lot of fun to do. Again, a situation where I brought that in straight to the computer, no inker. I just, you know, fixed the contrast in post. Now, back then, my Photoshop skills weren't that great compared to today. Like, I had a lot of training over the last 8 years. This was done, what, must have been like 2005? Do I have a signature here? I don't have a signature here. So I would assume this was around 2004, 2005 when I did this. So my Photoshop skills got a lot better. To ink this thing or digitally fix it took quite a while. But nowadays it wouldn't probably probably wouldn't take that long. But you notice this is how clean my pencils were back then. Like, I still had some things. I probably digitally took these out. But, you know, it is what it is. So, okay, let's move on to the next cover here. Okay, so they got me to do some, they had a series called Spotlight, and they would spotlight on different Transformers. This one's for Hot Rod. This was actually a very, very popular cover of mine. And this was when I started doing the cross-hatching. Really started doing the cross-hatching with my Transformers. As you can see here, I was adding a bunch here. This took a long time to ink on the computer. Because you see all these X's here? Wherever you see the X in comics language, whenever you put X's, the inker knows to fill that in black. It's just a way to save time so I don't have to shade it in. So when I had to do this digitally on the computer, this actually took quite the while to put together. But this was actually a very popular cover of mine. People like this one. So this was a spotlight for Hot Rod, and then I did another one for Nightbeat, which is right here, Nightbeat. And I was more under a time crunch here, so I tried to do the simpler. So I didn't add all the blacks to this one. And to let you know, this cover took no time at all. Like, literally, I think this took me an hour to draw. Drawing the arc here and Nightbeat back here. But again, to ink it, oh, I even think the inking didn't take that long. I think I just blacked out this one part here. So I just selected this and filled it in black, and that was pretty much it. And right here, that was pretty much it. So this cover took no time at all, probably like an hour. Which makes me think if I actually drew all my issues like this, it would be a lot faster. But then I wouldn't be me, right? So let's move on here. Okay, so I got the opportunity to do some Beast War covers for IDW after that, and you could tell here this is where I really wanted to play. And the idea of drawing dinosaurs, I wanted the dinosaur part of the Transformers to look real, like they would be real dinosaurs. So I went really clean with this one. I probably laid this out on a separate piece of paper, really detailed, and then I lightboxed this. I had this big, huge lightbox back in the day. I don't have it anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I think it broke down. But I did this pretty much with the lightbox, because I knew this is going straight to it. I'm going straight to the computer. I knew I had to clean this up, and I knew I wasn't very fast with my inking. So this was actually a situation where I actually filled it in with the pencils. See how we filled it in here? And then I tried to clean it up on the computer, and I know this took forever to clean up. But in turn, it was one of my favorite covers, because I love the dinosaurs. I love how that feels. I love how these particular parts feel here and here on his head. Like, I love the organic feel of this particular piece here. So this is one of my favorite Transformers pieces right here. This cover to Beast Wars #1. I believe Don Figueroa, I believe he penciled the series, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this cover was a lot of fun to do. And just to show you, this was actually done on Marvel paper. You see this? How it says Marvel up there on the top? That was done Marvel paper. You can tell the different papers that I used over the years. Like some of them is just regular Bristol board. Some of them, like this again, Marvel paper. This again was Marvel paper. Like it was just paper I had left over when I was doing work for Marvel. And then some were just like regular Bristol board I bought at the dollar store. When of course in Dreamwave I had my own Dreamwave paper. They had their own special paper that they used, and the paper was free. They would actually send it to you. Marvel would send you a whole stack of paper. So that's why I had the extra paper, so why not use it on Professional? Now let's get into the last bit I'm going to show you is my Transformers movie covers. Now this is for a series called Reign of Starscream. It was actually penciled by my buddy Alex Milne, who, you know, to me, he's the quintessential Transformers artist today. He's got a lot of fans today, a good friend of mine. But for this series, Reign of Starscream, I was working at a company called MGM. I actually left comics at this time. I was working in film full-time. I had a regular job, pretty much 9 to 5. Well, it was more like 9 to 9. But IDW actually approached me because at this time, I was living in Vancouver. My family was actually living in Toronto because I was trying out this new job. I was trying out living in the city first before I brought the family over. And so I had a lot of free time at this time. So I asked IDW if they wanted me to do some extras for them, so little covers here and there. And they actually offered this series to me. They actually offered me to do the line art for the series Reign of Starscream. But I was working full-time at the time. So they actually suggested, what if I was able to do 3 pages a week? Could I pull off 3 pages a week and they could have me as the regular artist on the series? Because they really wanted me on the series. And I turned it down because at that time, and knowing my work ethic, there was no way I would have been able to handle that. If you asked me today, I probably could have handled that today. It would have meant I would have done 2 pages on the weekend and tried to get 1 page done during the week, so like a panel a day. And now thinking about it now, that probably was doable. But back then, knowing my work ethic back then, we're talking about 2007, I would think, 2006, 2007, probably not. So at the very least, I got to do covers, and this particular one, this is one of my favorite ones. This has got to be one of my favorite ones. Having a reflection in Starscream's helmet, and it's a very simple cover. It's very simple. It's just a face shot, but the detail of Michael Bay's Transformers, I loved it. And you guys know I'm a big detail fan, detail freak. I loved it, and using my style. As you can tell, this is my style. This is what I love to do. And this was one of the first pieces colored by my frequent collaborator today, Kieran Oates, who colors all of my YouTube stuff today. And he did a fantastic job. This is one of the reasons why I contact him to color my stuff today. It's because of covers like this. I thought he did a phenomenal job on this. So this has to be right up there. One of my favorite pieces I've ever done. This particular cover to Transformers, Reign of Starscream. This was issue number 2. And here's another cover that I did. This was issue number 4. And this was interesting. These 3 Transformers here, and you can tell in the line art here, it's actually hard to see, but these 3 Transformers here, they were never in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, but there were toys of them. So they wanted me to add this on the cover, and I tried to make the toys as Bay-esque. We call them Bayformers. The Transformers fans, they call them Bayformers. I tried to make them as Michael Bay-esque as possible, so as you can see the faces here, I tried to add all these details in the faces, and around here, tried to give them as much detail as possible to match the detail of Starscream, as well as you have the Allspark here as well. So this was the issue number 4 cover. I forgot the names of these Transformers. Forgive me, Transformers fans, I forgot the name of these guys. And one more Transformers cover I did for the movie sequel is this one right here. This was the last one I did, just a very simple shot of Starscream. Now, I was under a time crunch to get this done, so I was actually trying to figure out a way to draw Starscream the easiest, and that's when I tried to use a lot of black. As you can tell here, I used a lot of black to hide a lot of the detail, to get it done, to merge it in with the background, to get a lot done. So this actual cover, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, didn't take me long at all. This only took 2 or 3 hours to actually draw. And one more thing, with these Transformers covers that I did, you notice they're inked compared to this Beast Wars covers that I did was fully penciled. Doing these Transformers covers, this was the first time I experimented going from blue line, going straight to ink, which my style is right now. A lot of you know that's my style. I'll do it just a rough blue line and then go straight to ink. And the benefits to doing that is, number 1, cuts out the middleman. I don't have to draw it twice. I don't have to pencil it, then ink it. So it cuts out that. So it's way faster. And, and all these little details I add it with the ink pen, and I only have to do it once. So this is more closer to how I expect the final to be, because it's how I would pencil the actual image. This is a technique I actually learned from a speed racer artist. His name's Tommy Yoon. He's actually a legendary artist, Tommy Yoon. And that's how he would do it. He would just do blue lines straight to ink. Very inspired also by one of my heroes, Doug Chang, who he would like do a quick marker render, go straight to ink whenever he did his concepts. So that's how I would do these particular pieces here. So that's pretty much it. Those were all the Transformers, not all the Transformers covers I've done. There are more, but I'll talk about those a little later on. But hopefully that gave you some insight into some of these pieces that I've done over the years. So these are, the fun part is you could see the color version as well as how they look like, the original art that I handed off to the editors. Now, to let you guys know everything that I've shown you today in this video, I'm actually going to put them up for sale. So if any of you guys are interested in purchasing any of these covers, and they range, like the Minicon covers, they go for way less just because they're not characters that you would know probably. But all of these are up for sale right now on my Facebook page. If you go to facebook.com/theboxofficeartist, facebook.com/theboxofficeartist, and go to the shop tab, all of these are up there for sale, and prices range. So if you want to find a way to support my channel, you could go there, maybe buy some original art, or you could get a commission done by me. Just email me at jamesraysart@gmail.com. That's a new email, jamesraysart@gmail.com. Email me there, and even there's a cover or piece that you know I've done. If you're interested in, please do let me know. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, that is a great way. Or if you want to go and take a better look at these images. So my Facebook store, that's open right now, and I want to thank you guys for the support that you've given me. Even just liking and subscribing to my page really does mean a lot to me, so thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions you have about doing comic book covers, let me know down below. Any questions you have about me working for these particular companies, please do let me know down below, and I'll try to answer them as as many as I can. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you want a link to the shop, I'll put that information down below, or possibly in a tab. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please do continue to follow me on all social media, as you see down below here: Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram @BoxOfficeArtist, Facebook.com/TheBoxOfficeArtist, Twitch.tv/BoxOfficeArtist. And my name is James. I am the Box Office Artist. I'm here to say, keep drawing, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.